This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
QRSTVWXYZ. What's missing from that picture? You are. But you don't have to be missing from the picture anymore with skylight frames. And these frames are for everyone, okay? Whether you're tech savvy or not, it's easy to operate for like your parents and grandparents who might not be so tech savvy. Also, if you are, you can actually add these little doodles. You draw a picture on your app and it shows up directly on your loved one's skylight frame. Perfect for adding a personal touch or a bit of fun. This holiday season, give the gift that keeps on giving: memories. Whether it's for grandparents who adore seeing the grandkids' latest antics or a friend who loves capturing every freaking moment, the skylight frame is the perfect gift to bring joy and connection into any home. It's so easy to set up and start sharing. You don't need an app or subscription. Just takes a minute. Designed to be easy for all ages. You plug in the frame and you're ready to start sharing memories. This is better than social media. It's private. You don't have to post your photos to the world. You don't have to print hard copies. Also, Skylight guarantees your satisfaction. They're so confident they offer you free 120-day returns. And for a limited time, get 20% off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. That's right. To get 20% off your Skylight frame, just go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. That's ca.skylightframe.com/HOCKEY.
What's up, champs? Welcome to another episode of the Short Shifts Fantasy Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Keeping Karlsson. I'm Jeremy Versillo, back on the mic again after a bit of a break, and joining me tonight, my pal and yours, Shams Benamor. Shams, how have you been these last 3 weeks since we've last podcasted with each other?
So, I think I found the answer is I've been on a 2-week losing streak. And this week, I am actually at a setup, it's only Thursday, so I don't want to count anything, but I'm winning. So I think I need you to not take any breaks because I need, to keep this streak going on. So thank you for your presence, just making my team better.
I'll keep that in mind going forward. Well, this is a bit of a late night for us because we're after the Patreon cast, so let's get right into the news. This will include a number of things from Thursday's games also, because I think there's only 2 games left during this recording. All the other ones have finished. First of all, JT Miller returns for the Vancouver Canucks. Hasn't pointed yet and had a pretty spicy press conference with reporters where he basically preempted anybody who was like, do not ask about why I was gone. This is personal. And good for him. Players need to take that stand and be like, hey, my personal life, whatever it might have been for him, let's stop prying and enjoy the hockey that they play when they are healthy and happy. Anything to do here other than get JT Miller back in your lineup?
So the nice thing to see is that basically their lines have kind of gone back to what they were when he was in the lineup. So Miller's back with Besser. The left wing this time is Hoglander, but it kind of can change. So just keep an eye on that. And then Sherwood is back on the top line with Pettersson and DeBrus. So really less about, the big name players that are going to be there, but Sherwood has been kind of hanging around on the 4th line or the 3rd line, but now he's back with Pettersson. So maybe if he was dropped or depending on your week settings, Sherwood might be an interesting player again.
Yeah. And on the flip side, Pia Suter is now back on the 3rd line, and he's always been a boomer bust type of player. So I don't think you need to worry about him if you are still holding him. I dropped him yesterday when the news broke that Miller would be returning. Next up, we've got 2 defenseman injuries. One late scratch, Victor Hedman, and the other one injured last game was Roman Josi. Kind of sucks. Hopefully neither of them are gone for long. Sounds like day-to-day on both. What are the updates on the lines here?
So right now with we have with the Predators, it's Michael DeGazio is the new power play quarterback. So I know that a lot of people are annoyed both in real life with the money that was spent on Brady Skjei, and in fantasy, the people that thought, hey, you might have some fantasy value as he did with Carolina, but this is your hint. If depending on, like, even on the deepest of leagues, Brady Skjei has done basically absolutely nothing. He has, like, random shots and random block, and he can't even get power play one with Josi out. I think this is more of a indictment on him than really much to say about anything else. And then on top of that, since it was late breaking news, hopefully it's anything serious with Hedman. It was literally he was practicing. He was actually did the line rushes, which is your guarantee. If you do the line rush on the warm up at the opening of the game, you're in. But something came up. All that we know, it's a lower body injury day to day. So hopefully it's not long term, but keep an eye on game day news and we'll have updates there when we find it.
Yeah, good point on Brady Skjei. I had not thought of the fallout from that. But yeah, if Mark DeGazio is getting power play time over you, granted, that is a kind of one-trick pony offensive defenseman who played 3 years at the NCAA and has been about a half-point per game guy in the AHL. I think he's getting the sheltered minutes because he's their 7th D call-up type guy. Other injury news, Anthony Stolarz left today's Leafs game, and that is not good because I believe there were a bunch of articles this week about how he may be a Vezina frontrunner and all of that. One of them may have been a Beaverton article, but that's beside the point. I believe that the beat writers have cursed Anthony Stolarz into injury.
Yeah, it's just that shame is hopefully it's right now it's they'll know more tomorrow as kind of the line is by the coach with injuries the same day. So, just keep an eye out. And then depending on your situation, this is just, in your categories league, Woll was probably already rostered because you weren't looking for volume. But if you're in a league where volume matters and you're hurting for a goalie, I would be looking for picking up Woll right now to just, you're going to get the second start anyway, even if he's healthy, because they're going to be rotating starts. And then if he's out with any significant length, then you have a starting goalie for a good team.
Yeah, I think Woll is going to get the majority of the starts if Stolarz hurt. I think he's probably going to figure whatever's been limiting his play out. Like, he hasn't been great, but he also hasn't had time to get into the groove. Nobody they're going to call up, Hildeby or Matt Murray. I don't even know if Matt Murray's even playing in the AHL anymore. He may have flamed out of there. But yeah, this would be Woll's net for the foreseeable future on a very good team. In some more positive goalie news, Cam Talbot came back and had a really good start, lost the game, but gave up 2 goals on 36 shots with a couple of empty netters. And then there was some coach reporting today that Tristan Jarry is now the starting goalie of Pittsburgh. Like, the coach came out and said that, yes, he's taken the starting job back. He was a bit shaky today. The Penguins won 9-2, which we're going to talk a bit about later. But, he didn't have, I think it was only like 21 shots against for the 2 goals. So not like a high scoring start, but a win is a win, and you got to enjoy that team confidence. A couple more injury outjuries. Ryan O'Reilly returned for the Predators and actually had 2 goals and an assist, which he had been struggling along with most of the Preds. Preds finally break that losing streak with Justus Anunen in net. So maybe he gets another start as a Saros owner. I hope not. And Trevor Zegras got surgery on his meniscus and is out for 6 weeks. Anything to add to either of those, Shams?
The interesting thing I would say the most is with Ryan O'Reilly coming back is that he's not back to his original line. He actually lined up with Nyquist and Colton Sissons. And then that left the replacement line that was there when he got hurt of Stamkos, Forsberg, and Marchessault as a line. So not sure if that's going to go, but if the idea is that if they could get Ryan O'Reilly being able to pull a line on his own with these points, with Ole Nyquist as his wing. Hopefully that kind of opens up a situation where that Forsberg line can start producing as well. And then maybe we'll actually have some happy drafters in Fantasyland.
That's true. With that, let's go to our quick break, and we'll come back with some more big performances from tonight and some hot cold.
I love being at a hockey game. I love the sights, the sounds, the slap of I really like the slap of the puck and the stick, like during warm-ups. That's my weird thing about going to a hockey game. But you know what? Sometimes it's annoying getting there because buying tickets can be so frustrating, but not with Game Time. They have this feature called Game Time Picks where they filter out the fluff and they show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. I'm looking through the app right now. I see tickets for Preds visiting the Senators, Isles visiting the Senators, all at an amazing price. Penguins. They also have lacrosse tickets for the local lacrosse team, which is either the Rock or the Black Bears. I don't know enough about the local lacrosse team to know. I'm sorry. I see PWHL tickets, Victory at La Victorie at the Charge. And what else? Oh, we've got Sesame Street Live, Katy Perry. I'll buy all the tickets because it's so easy. And you can see what the view looks like from your seat at a glance as you're scrolling through the options. And Game Time also offers the lowest price guarantee, or they will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN. For $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
The 2024-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. You can also pick on a player to score a goal. You can bet on a whole bunch of things. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN, stands for the Hockey Podcast Network, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's hit you with some hot and cold streaks. Actually, mostly hot streaks tonight. A happy night, not a sad night. Owen Tippett has 5 goals in his last 5 games. Unfortunately, that's only come on 10 shots total, so I'm kind of still tempering my expectations. I think Tippett's not going to perform up to where you drafted him this year, although he's still a very ownable asset on a pretty good Flyers team. Sucks that he's not on Power Play 1 also. You got thoughts here, Shams?
I think it's that idea is it's kind of odd that he was always seen as the guy that shot, but maybe it's just a different situation with his line mates where someone else is taking the opportunities, but just kind of be a happy situation that the goals are coming. Maybe he doesn't need to take as many shots as it start going in.
And you added this next guy to the list. Funny thing is, we were talking pre-show, and I mentioned that this is a guy that somehow I have not dropped yet, just because Cupful Tier 1 is a 16-team league, and I did a Stars and Scrubs draft approach. So Reilly Smith has been on my roster since the draft in Cupful. What type of hot streaks is he on, though?
This is kind of an unsung hero kind of thing for me, because I was just looking at anyone on the Rangers to pick up for he had a good streaming situation with so many off nights this week, and I was just like, I'll take him over Capo Caco, or, there's so many just people that Elon mentioned on the Max Up Maximizer. I'll take my shot here. And then in the last 4 games, this goes back to Sunday. He has 3 goals in those 4 games, and he has 13 shots over that span as well, and a couple of blocks here and there. The thing is that he is only on Power Play 2, but he is playing with Kreider and Spinajad on I guess you call it the second line. But either way is that while the team is not really in the best place, at least there seems to be scoring a little bit more now. And then to be with those two big name players, I'm kind of tempted to keep him around. It's one of those situations where you pick up a streamer, they're kind of getting hot. It probably is not sustainable, but it's one of those situations where I just don't want to drop him until he's not hot anymore. Do you think, like, you're just talking about your situation where, with the extra two teams in your division, it's kind of be a little bit different calculus, but it's that situation where I just don't want to drop a guy that he's like has 2 more games of goals.
I think you can probably hold on to him. He's got a good schedule next week, playing on a relatively light Tuesday and then Friday, Sunday. So actually, I had targeted some Rangers a couple weeks ago because they basically had 3 weeks in a row with one of the top 3 or 4 schedules as far as off nights go. And Reilly Smith was a guy that's, like you said, he's been on the second line pretty much the whole season, minus that one game where he was scratched. He ended up back on power play 2. He's playing a lot of shorthanded time. So, one lucky break shorthanded where someone gets a goal makes your entire week with our scoring setup. So I definitely think he's worth holding on to at least through Christmas, and then kind of look at what his upcoming schedule is and who else you have on your team. I said that I've had him since the draft, and I suspect he will continue on my team because I think I have like 5 other players that are more droppable than him. So just shows you the state of the bottom half of my roster right now. On to some cold streaks. They were really hot earlier in the month, or I guess in November, but both Dmitri Voronkov and Adam Fantilli kind of have cooled off. Voronkov's on line 1, I think, in power play 1, or line 2 in power play 1, and Fantilli's on a different line and on power play 2. I kind of think they're both unsustainable. They aren't shooting a ton. Voronkov at least hits somewhat, but these guys are going to be frustrating. I think we're settling into the doldrums of the season where your Columbus guys aren't really that exciting anymore, even though they had a great start. What were you recommending people do here?
Yeah, I'm in that kind of boat too. Is that, like, for me, is that I think it's, other than maybe Marchenko and Monahan in, like, say, like a couple style league where you have, like, it's pretty deep, those two, maybe you could add Kent Johnson in there as well, because I know the short shift host on Tuesday are a big fan of him. Those are maybe the 3 forwards I'm like, maybe I can live with a cold streak. And then the rest, I might be a little bit more willing to kind of take the Seattle approach of, if you're interesting, I'll keep you on my roster. If you're not, I'll throw you away and then pick up the next random. We could see, I wouldn't be surprised if you tell me next week we're on the show and we have a hot streak that JVR somehow points in 3 games straight. It's that kind of weird situation where I can't explain why people are pointing, but, like, they have enough people that can do it, which is kind of interesting that we're talking about this with Columbus of all teams.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a weird year for some of those lower ends teams. I mean, Calgary had a moment where they looked really good. We talked about Anaheim. I think right now it's kind of the Sharks who are the bad team that's providing a ton of fantasy goodness. I'm loving having a bunch of Sharks in one of my leagues, which I didn't think I'd be saying at the beginning of the year. Last but not least, I've got 2 more hot streaks that are maybe kind of fueled by tonight. Rickard Rakell had 4 points tonight, which puts him up to 10 points and 6 goals in his last 8 games. He's also shooting a bunch of 4-shot games. He had some 3-shot games, playing with Crosby and Rust and on power play 1. I really like what I'm seeing from Rakell this year. I think a lot of people had written him off after he got moved to Pittsburgh and kind of was never the same as his years in Anaheim. You just got to hold on to Rakell and keep rolling him out there. He's got dual winger eligibility. He's probably not available anywhere, certainly not available in Cupful. What do you think? Do you think Rakell's sustainable, or am I a bit too high on him?
I would probably put them in kind of same-ish boat as we were talking about with the Columbus guys, but I have more faith in Rakell and say, like, your Rakell, your Rust, your maybe Tomasino is a little bit lower on that rung, but of, like, these guys that, like, I know that Malkin didn't do anything today, but like you still have Crosby there. You still have like the team's not great, but they still have like people that like, well, obviously Crosby's going to be a Hall of Fame, but like you have Hall of Fame, like caliber players there that are still playing well, that like these are good players at the very least, maybe not great, that they could produce on their own, play with such great players as well, that there's going to be situations where it breaks out that like, and especially if like, for example, say like a Letang that I remember, I think it was Elon said on a Maximizer or something that like he got dropped in his division. And it's like, for him, I just love that like he shoots all the time. So even if you have like no points, I'll still take, a couple points here and there because he has like 7 shots out of nowhere. It's that kind of situation where I feel like there's more to explain how points are going to happen with Pittsburgh than Columbus, even if Columbus is the more quote unquote hot team right now.
Yeah, I'm really in on the top line, especially in Pittsburgh. I'm not particularly into the Malkin, Tomasino, Bunting line. Like they've looked slow. That's a really slow line, just gameplay wise. You mentioned Letang. I had him on my list also. He has 8 points in his last 6 games, including 4 goals. 4 goals is a bit insane for a defenseman, but he's also taken like 25 shots in that span. He's got an 8-shot game, a 7-shot game. And with both Letang and Rakell, like you mentioned, they're going to get you some shots. They both are going to get you like a hit and a half per game. Letang blocks some. Letang also has a ton of ice time recently, including back on power play 1. So I think Erik Karlsson's struggles have finally shown his ice time to start decreasing, and Letang is the defenseman you want going forward in Pittsburgh, at least for the next, 50 games to end out the season. I definitely look to pick up Letang if he got dropped anywhere. I've noticed he's available in a few of my leagues, my more shallow leagues, of course. And with that, I think we're actually in true short shifts territory. Is there anything else you want to opine on while we've got like 5 more minutes before the time goal we usually set for ourselves?
Just one more note. I don't know what the final point total is, but I believe at least partway through the game, Kovalenko, the newly Shark, was playing with Celebrity, and I believe he had at least 3 assists. So if he is able to play with Celebrity and Toffoli, he has at least the quality of having that draft stock of being a prospect, and to be able to play with those 2 players. He's not going to have these kind of points, but to be able to play with those 2 players and to be able to produce right away shows that he might be able to stick around. So depending on how deep your league is, that is someone that's pretty interesting for me.
That's a good call out. He only played about 13 minutes total today, but he was with Celebrini and Toffoli at even strength, and that's always a good sign. He wasn't on a power play unit, but it's possible that could be coming as they integrate him more into the team. I'm not adding him quite yet, but definitely a watch list guy if I've ever seen one. And with that, thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed our show, please consider joining the Keeping Karlsson patron group at keepingkarlsson.com/patron. Super supporters receive ad-free episodes, and you can interact with Brian, Elon, Shams, myself, and the rest of the Short Shifts crew, along with the hundreds of other talented fantasy managers. Please check out www.gamedaytweets.com to get all the best info from Twitter without having to slog through the rest of it. It includes team-by-team, searchable tweets by player name. Wow, that was a mouthful. I don't know how I messed that one up today. Visit that site and the other great sites we use to research our episodes with at Yahoo, Frozen Tools, and Natural Stat Trick. Our intro and outro music was created by Pat Roach. Until we see you next time, play smart and keep your shifts short.